Hi, my name is Joe Gingras. I'm part of the game design realization team on Recon Breakpoint, and I'm based off of the Paris studio. Okay, well, first of all, we wanted to have an experience that's closer to what the Special Force operators live. So we wanted to have those survival aspects and those wound aspects and those cooperative aspects of carrying your teammate with you to be really present, to be at the core of the experience of the player. And we also wanted a more challenging enemy for the player, and the drones were a great answer to that, making sure that we had a challenge that was bigger, but staying true to the franchise where if there's an enemy in front of you and he's human, a headshot will take him down. How fragile life is. How, we feel like these guys are superheroes, but the way they succeed has to do a lot about how they practice, how they exercise, and essentially integrate those movements and those reflexes in a way that becomes just natural. It becomes muscle memory. And when they go in operation, they're pretty much a conditioned machine. And it's amazing to see the humanity of these people and to see how they value life and to see how they train to make sure that they are able to preserve life, sometimes at the cost of somebody else's life, but to make sure that this quality of life remains. I can't say in amount of hours how much time we spent with them, but we spent a lot of time. We were meeting on a weekly basis for a long time during the development process. To us, it was to discover their universe, what their experience is when they're deployed in operations. And it covered multiple topics: how they use the weapons, what equipment they choose, how they position themselves, how they use their equipment, how they go about and travel and move in the world, how do they approach an operation, how do they take down an enemy, how do they neutralize somebody. So all of this were all questions and dialogues that we had with them, oftentimes with them demonstrating to us those different techniques and ways to go about it. Sometimes we filmed them, sometimes they filmed themselves and sent us the documentation. And also we used their help in the motion capture sessions. Sometimes it was as consultants, so they were there on set and correcting everything and making sure everything was on par with authenticity. But sometimes it was them in the capture combination doing the movements and us capturing their movements.
And with my brothers and sisters at my side, there is no fight we fear.
One could definitely come to the conclusion that, the backlash we got from what we did with Bolivia could be a reason why we decided to go this way. But we're really proud of what we did with the Bolivia that we delivered and with the experience that we delivered for the players. So I wouldn't say this is the reason why. The reason why, I will tell you, is how the Tom Clancy games always revolve around a what if. And to us, the what if was around what if a big tech company decided to build a world 2.0 and it went wrong? What if one of the ex-ghosts that you worked with, that you were really close to, turned on you and decided to fight against you? And so these two what ifs could happen anywhere in the world, but we needed a way to be able to build this world 2.0 in a location where this was possible. So an archipelago in the middle of the Pacific Ocean was something that rang true to us. It was like, okay, well, yeah, this can happen. The climate, the geography, the fact that it's remote and it's away from the rest of the world and they can do their experiment there felt really true. And so we decided to build from real world references, so Pacific Ocean islands, New Zealand and all that, to deliver something that felt really true to the player, but that really gave us that flexibility to build something that was custom for the World 2.0 we had to deliver. Is the Breakpoint experience as big as the Wildlands experience? The answer is yes, and it's going to be even bigger because we're expanding this archipelago. We're giving access to different islands as the live content comes in. So it's going to be an even bigger experience than what you played in Wildlands, which was already huge.
Yeah.
So you can imagine. Now, the second part of the question is, how do you go about and create a world that's believable, that's rich, that's full, that's engaging, and that's not too repetitive to the player? We start by building the geography of the world. This is done in collaboration with the world logic, which is coming up with all the structures that are going to be present in the world, and essentially making this cohesive harmony between the two. And then it's a matter of, okay, well, we know there's going to be activity here, 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 and we know there's going to be zones where there's less activity. How do we populate the world with more activity? And what selection of activities? And how do we, as you're saying, iterate on this so that it becomes good for the player? I think it's important that I start with the intention behind this. As we were mentioning earlier in some of the questions, we have a very broad audience, and we're trying to broaden the audience to an even larger audience. And to do that, we have to make sure that we have an offer for every one of those players. Some players think it's really important to have a very specific weapon with a very specific attachment and a helmet and a pair of gloves and boots, and all of this is really core to their experience. If they don't have it, they're missing out. And so for these players, we want to have that option possible. And for the players that don't care about this and that say, hey, I just want to pick up the controller and have fun, this option is also there for those types of players. And so this system is in place to allow for all of this clientele to be satisfied and to find what they're looking for. Some people will pay to have specific cosmetic customization. Fine. Some people won't. Fine. But none of them are at a disadvantage when time comes to say, well, I invested that much in the game with my time. I'm rewarded that much. So it's a fair system. If you invest a lot, you're rewarded a lot. If you don't invest a lot, well, you're not rewarded a lot.
I will burn your world to the ground. I'm a ghost too. I would expect nothing less.
First off, I think that we've started with Wildlands already, would incorporate characters. So they'd be like, characters meeting from different universes and sharing in the different operations that we're presenting for the player. Second, I think that every one of the Tom Clancy games has its own identity. And taking from some of the other games and bringing it would eventually, I think, kind of flatten the experience, and it would be the same from game to game. So I think that it's essential that we preserve this unique identity for every game, and that whatever we decide to bring over from another game won't dilute this identity and would keep it strong.
Recon Breakpoint.